Welcome to this episode of The Self Led Leader. Today, I'm going to be talking about the one trait that differentiates good leaders from great leaders. It's not something that's internal to you, it's a skill that you can learn. It's a skill that you can learn and start using today. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Welcome to The Self Led Leader, a podcast for high performers who want to lead from alignment, not expectation. I'm Dr. Christina Ady, a social psychologist, and I'm here to help you lead with clarity, not chaos. This show is about what happens before the strategy, your mindset, your nervous system, the inner leadership that shapes everything you say and do. Because presence isn't about being loud, it's about being aligned. Let's get right into it. It's the power of asking open ended questions. That's right. Open ended questions are so incredibly overlooked in the realm of leadership. They are crucial for understanding your team's mindset, their thinking and reasoning, and their behaviors. So, let's get right into unpacking why these simple, open ended questions are going to completely change the way you interact with your team. You see, when leaders are speaking to their teams, when I'm working with leaders and we're deep diving and dissecting the conversations that they're having, there's a pattern that I've noticed. There's a pattern that has become abundantly clear to me. And that is the tendency for leaders to avoid asking open ended questions and to jump right into things. You see, and I get that. And you can probably relate to this. You are busy. You have about 72 projects on the go. You have 15 things to work on in the next hour. You have meetings back to back to back. You don't even have time to take a bathroom break, much less have that cup of coffee that you've been craving for hours. You're tired, you're overworked, you are exhausted and burnt out, and it's not even lunchtime yet. And so it's understandable that when someone comes to you, if there's a problem or an issue, if there's been a miscommunication, the urge, the natural tendency is to just jump right in and to start giving advice, to start problem solving, to get into the nitty gritty and try and figure it out and move right on from it as fast as you can. But this is actually harming you in the long term. So, again, I get that jumping in seems like the right thing to do. It's saving you time, it's getting right to the issue, it's solving the problem. But the repercussions of that cannot be understated. When you are simply jumping in, number one, you're not listening to what happened. You're not taking the time to understand the backstory. Now hear me out for a second. I know like you don't have time for this. There's so much other stuff going on. The backstory doesn't matter because they should have fixed it. Yes, and maybe there's a reason that this is happening. Maybe there's a reason that this is an ongoing issue. Maybe there's a reason that the team member that is supposed to be doing the thing that you told them to do isn't doing the thing that you asked them to do repeatedly because there's something else going on under the surface. And taking the time to ask the open ended questions is the most effective way to begin to unpack that and actually fix it and fix it long term. Now, part of not wanting to jump into questions, when I'm speaking with leaders, some of the things that I hear, and maybe this is resonating with you, there is a slight fear or a slight uncomfortable feeling of asking questions because of a perceived implication that it means you don't know the answer, that you're not sure either, and that it makes you look bad. There's a belief that not asking questions is better because then you're fixing, and fixing is correlated with being good in their minds. Maybe there's feelings of needing to be the expert, of needing to know everything and needing to know the next best step immediately. And if you don't know that, if you stop to ask some questions, it feels like your expertise is being taken away from you. And so, if that's you,
If you relate to any of those feelings, let me reassure you that that's not the case and that this is harming you long term. It could actually be harming your credibility without you realizing. If you're constantly go, 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 if you're constantly trying to just say the next best step without actually considering your options, without getting the right information, can you see how you may actually be giving the wrong advice? Or you may not be doing the right next step out of fear. And so let's change that. You see, open ended questions are an extremely powerful way to get to the root of what is really going on with what people are thinking, with what people are believing, and with why people are acting the way that they are. This relates to your team members, your coworkers, anyone you speak to in and out of work. You see, within your team setting, taking the time to ask open ended questions creates that sense of psychological safety. It tells your team that you care about them. You're validating their emotions, you're validating their experience, you're taking the time to inquire about their thoughts, their frustrations, their processes. And by doing that, you are actually getting such an in depth source of information into what they are actually thinking, into how they are approaching their tasks, into any gaps in their knowledge, into any gaps in their skills, into any mindset issues like fears, lack of confidence, lack of motivation that is contributing to the root cause that you would completely overlook if you just told them what to go and do. Let me give you an example. If a team member is coming to you with a project that is consistently delayed, that they were supposed to spearhead and get some work done on, and you just tell them, okay, go do this, you may be completely overlooking the fact that they may be lacking confidence in the project itself. They may feel like they're lacking the skills to handle the project. They may feel like they're lacking the leadership skills to go out and collaborate with the other teams that they're supposed to. They may be feeling like they lack the communication skills or the support to go and speak to that other team lead that they need to talk to get the right information. They may be feeling frustrated. And worst of all, if you just completely overlook what's going on with them and tell them what to do, they may feel invalidated, unmotivated, and really like you don't care about their experience. You see, people are people. People are people are people. People have feelings, emotions, beliefs, judgments, the whole nine yards. And if you're treating people like robots and you're just telling them what to do as if you're pressing a couple buttons on your Roomba, you are overlooking such a crucial part of their experience working for you. And so, open ended questions open the door to your insights, your ownership, and your sense of trust with your team. Now, the important thing is to understand that not all open ended questions are the same, because part of this is asking the right questions. But the more crucial part of this is asking it in the right way. You see, you can ask open ended questions all day long, but if you're asking them with a judgmental tone, if you are not giving your team member your full attention, if you're staring at your phone or working on your computer as you ask these questions, it's going to defeat the purpose. If your body language, if your facial expressions, if you are giving them signals that you disagree or that you don't care or that you're not even listening because you're thinking of something else that you should be doing that you think is better than this conversation, that defeats the purpose. So, when you are taking the time to ask open ended questions, take the time to ask the open ended questions. Put everything aside, even if it's just 2 minutes. Even if you need to give them that caveat and that disclaimer of, hey, I'd like to get to the bottom of this, but I only have 5 minutes between now and my next meeting. And give them your full attention for that 5 minutes. Giving them that disclaimer lets them know that you are quite literally committing every last second of your time that you can to help them, to understand them, and to help them grow and evolve and fix this once and for all. And that is crucial. And so, Ask open ended questions using some version of the following sort of questions, right? So you can ask them just in general, tell me about this. Why did this happen? Why did you choose this? How come this was chosen over this, right? Like you can just use general open ended questions, asking them to tell you more information. Second version is to ask for specifics, to ask for some sort of reasoning or justification and explanation of what happened. So, can you describe why this was chosen? Can you tell me more about your thought process for doing this thing specifically? Typically, things are done this way. Can you please explain to me why you proceeded to do it this way? Right? Then, the third category of open ended questions you can focus on is sort of future pacing, getting into their insights, their thought process, their ability to rationalize things and move forward. And this is crucial because this third category will help you address any issues before they start. And these are questions like, what do you think the next step should be? How are you seeing the path forward? What's your recommendation? And this is putting the ownership, this is putting the ball in their court. And this is fantastic because it helps you see any gaps in their knowledge and their skills. And so, when you are asking the open ended questions, number one, you're going to take the time to give them your full attention. Put your phone away, put your laptop away as best as you can. Look at them, face them with your body because body language matters, and ask them the open ended question. You're going to ask it from a place of neutrality, a place of genuine curiosity, a place of understanding that understanding their answer will help you address the issue, the problem, the task at hand from a much better angle. And so you're going to put your judgment aside. You're going to monitor your facial expressions and your body language, and you are going to ask these open ended questions as neutrally and from a place of curiosity as best as you can. And when they answer, ask them a second question, ask a second follow up question, ask them a few questions, and get a really good sense of what they were thinking, what their thought process was, and why they did the things they did so that you understand why they didn't do what you wanted to do, why they didn't think of doing the thing that you think is the best next step, and where you need to be able to coach them and guide them and teach them or refer them to the right resources so that the task is done the way that you think is best. And most importantly, so that they learn how to approach it next time. Because when you are just giving solutions and go, 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 you are robbing them of the opportunity to use their critical thinking, to think, to grow, to learn, to understand where they went wrong. And so, by taking the time to ask the questions, you are also giving them a moment to reflect. By answering your open ended questions, especially when you're asking them from genuine neutrality and curiosity, when you're holding a safe space for them to be able to answer without repercussions, without judgment, without you being like, oh, that was stupid. Why would you do that? Without your face saying that as you listen. When you're able to give them that space and that grace, they're having a moment to reflect. They're having a moment to identify their own gaps. And it's the perfect learning opportunity for them to understand how to do it better next time. So now, instead of having teams that come to you with the same issues reoccurring over and over, the same types of mistakes over and over, the same lack of skills, lack of motivation, lack of confidence over and over, by taking the time to ask the open ended questions, you are transforming the way that you approach leading your team. You are completely changing your interactions and improving them for the better, which has tremendous ripple effects throughout the entire work system, organization, work day, work company, everything. And so, this is your sign. This is your chance. This is your moment. If it's too much, sit and reflect just for a minute, just for 2 minutes about the most common types of conversations you're having, and come up with a list of 5 open-ended questions. Tell me why this happened. Describe to me why you chose to do it this way. Can you tell me more about your thought process for this? Can you explain to me why it was done this way? It doesn't have to be complicated. It just needs to be open ended from a place of neutrality and genuine curiosity. And so, as you're asking these questions, refrain from asking one question. When I'm working with leaders, I often see this tendency for us to have these conversations, for them to practice asking open ended questions, and then for them to feel like asking one was good enough. And then the old tendency to jump right in and go, go, go kicks in. And so catch yourself and refrain yourself and ask a follow up question. Ask two, three, four if you need to. Get that deep, rich information that you need because it will help you and your team. And when you understand that, when you come to it from that perspective, the anxiety and the fear and the uncomfortable feeling of asking questions goes away because you know it's for the greater good. And now you've asked the questions, you're coming from a place of neutrality, you're holding space for them to answer, and you're going to hold that space. You're going to listen to what they say. You're going to give them a moment to add any additional information. Give it a beat before you ask your next question. Wait a moment before you jump in with a solution. Look at the way their body language and their facial expressions are. Are they hesitating? Are they giving you cues and signs that there's something else that they're not telling you because they may feel scared or uncomfortable or unsure? Are they avoiding answering the questions? And if they are, that gives you a super big indication that there's something there they're not telling you. Are they repeating the same things over and over? That's a sign that that is something that's really bothering them and you should dig into it a little bit deeper. Are they focusing on the task and really the process, which means it's a signal for you to dig into that deeper? Or are they talking a lot more about their emotions and the emotional impact that this is having on them? Because that is a major indicator that they are having some sort of emotional reaction, emotional process that they need help processing. They need you to validate their emotions and help them get through it. Again, people are people are people. They are not robots. And part of leading is understanding that emotions will come up and emotions are part of the equation. And so resist jumping in to interrupt, resist jumping in to give them solutions. Let their language guide you. Notice what they're talking about, notice what they're avoiding, and notice what they are caught up on. Those are all major clues as to where to dig into next. And so, leaders who understand how to ask better questions get better answers. They build better, stronger, more self led teams. Your team has an array of wisdom and skills and behaviors, but it is up to you to understand and to learn how to tap into that, how to understand their mindset, their behaviors, and their motivations, and use that in the way that you lead. And so, to leave you with this week, take one open ended question and integrate it into every conversation that you're having, whether that's your one on one, whether that's your team meeting, whether that's the last minute conversation where you need to help them fix and find a solution right away. Make it a point to use at least one more open ended question than you usually do. And pay attention. Pay attention to how the quality of the answers that you receive begins to change. Pay attention to the insights that you begin to get and how those deepen and become more effective. Pay attention to the way that your relationships begin to change and how much stronger and better and more direct they become. Asking open ended questions is a hidden superpower in leadership. And when you understand how to do it well, you completely change the way that you lead. If this is something that you need a little bit of support with, I invite you to check out the description. My website, my coaching information, everything will be linked for you there. And in general, if you'd like to continue expanding and evolving and working on your executive presence so that something like asking open ended questions feels easy peasy lemon squeezy, then I'm going to link my free executive presence workbook for you in the description as well. You can go ahead and grab that for free on my website, and it's going to give you an in depth breakdown of how to start identifying gaps in your executive presence and how to begin really building it in a way that works for you. There's no cookie cutter tips here. Everything is personalized based on you, your preferences, and your psychology. If you have any questions, reach out. Happy to chat and ask those open ended questions, my friends. They will change the nature of the game for you. I'll see you and I'll talk to you in the next episode.